Hi, Gene here with today's thought, which is going to be about the hubris of the minor presidential candidate. I'm going to be focusing on the Republicans, but before I get to the Republicans, just a word about the Democrats, because we have one candidate. Well, we have Joe Biden. He announced that he's running again. No big surprise there, though people were speculating. And who knows, he ultimately may not be the candidate by the time the primaries are over and by the time the Republicans in the House finish with their investigations. It doesn't look good for him, but that's a different subject. I want to talk about just the Democrats for a minute because of these minor candidates. I mentioned RFK Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr., in an earlier vlog that he declared his candidacy, and immediately after declaring his candidacy, he got 14%. Obviously not enough for him to win the nomination. But since then, and this was very recently, he's now up to 19%. So he's growing, and so you want to watch this space and just see what happens with RFK going forward, because as I said, there could be a heap of trouble for Biden, and the only alternative seems to be Robert F. Kennedy. And well, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But I don't know if I would call him a minor candidate if he's up to 19%. Because remember, Ron DeSantis on the Republican side, he's around 30%, and people are talking about whether he could defeat Trump in the primaries. I predict no, but we'll see what happens there too. But he's not being called a minor candidate. So I'm not going to talk about DeSantis. Well, in a way I am, but I'm talking about other people like Asa Hutchinson. He was the former governor of Arkansas. He was the last governor before Sarah Sanders Huckabee, who's the current governor, just elected. But he's one candidate. Larry Elder just declared his candidacy. We have Vivek Ramaswamy. We have Nikki Haley. There could be more that I'm just not remembering because there's so many, and all they're really doing is splitting the vote and helping Trump. But when I talk about the hubris, is how do any of these people think that they're going to be the candidate? The chances are just about zero. If it's not Trump, it's going to be DeSantis. Never mind defeating Trump. Do any of these minor candidates really think they could defeat DeSantis with his track record in Florida? I predict no. So I think there's a better use of these candidates' time, these minor candidates, not waste time on this, because they're all raising money, so people are contributing to them. But what they should be doing is raising money to get out the vote to ballot harvesting. That's what I'm talking about, what the Democrats did to win in 2022 and 2020 also. Just you have the mass mailing of these ballots, but the Republicans and Trump bears some fault for this because he said, well, it's fraudulent, don't do that, vote on election day. And you had Herschel Walker, for instance, in Georgia. He got 57% of the vote on election day, but it didn't help him because, well, in a way it helped. It could have been worse if he got less than that, but he lost because of the early voting, because the Republicans voted on that one day, and there were a lot of problems with voting machines and long lines, whereas the Democrats had been ballot harvesting, collecting votes for weeks and weeks and weeks, and Trump is very smart this time. He says, well, ideally, we would all vote on the same day unless you're physically distant or you're physically disabled, can't get there. Paper ballots, same day, but that's not the world we live in. And he said, well, that's what he said. That's not the world we live in. We have to do what the Democrats do. We have to ballot harvest. We have to ballot harvest as soon as these mass mailed ballots go out. As soon as they start arriving in Republican mailboxes, the Republicans have to be out there getting these ballots filled out, ballot harvesting. And I think these minor candidates, their time would be much better spent working on that, raising money for ballot harvesting and for ads too. But I really do think that the ballot harvesting is more important than Then the advertisements. I mean, you have to do that to convince people to vote, so on and so forth. But the ballot harvesting and for lawyers to bring lawsuits, and for instance, if we have Mark Zuckerberg with the Zuckerbucks again, and party officials, Democratic Party operatives taking over local election offices in heavily Democratic areas and in swing states, we have to be on the lookout for that, and we have to be prepared, and we have to spend money on that. And the more money we have to spend, the better we can do on legal challenges and ballot harvesting. And that's what these minor candidates should be doing, because they should be realistic and understand that there's no way any of these people are going to be the nominee, the Republican nominee. That's my thought for today. Thanks for stopping by. Looking forward to seeing all of you again. If you could subscribe, that would be really great. And until I see you all again, bye.